Hello everyone, Scott Farida here, and today we are talking about what appears to be hundreds of thousands of your taxpayer dollars that Karen McDonald has been spending. So let's just dive right into it. First off, where do these numbers come from? Well, last month, Karen's team finally responded, at least in part, to a Freedom of Information Act request I submitted back in February. So we got some hard figures to go off of. Let's start with the private security company companies that have been paid to watch Karen McDonald's house. That total came out to $180,477.50. For the gas used to drive Karen around, well, that came out per county records to an average of $5,992.58. And for the vehicle maintenance and the like, that came out to about $5,181.49. Now, you may be saying, wow, that's a lot of money, but we haven't even gone through it all. You see, that doesn't touch upon Karen's private driver. See, back when I was in the prosecutor's office, I knew that Karen McDonald gave herself a private driver in a county vehicle. And there were all sorts of rumors and information going around the office among the staff because how frankly ridiculous it was. And the county helpfully puts up their salary schedule in line. So if you look up prosecutor investigator, the top two spots are $39 an hour and some change, and $41 an hour and some change. So if you're averaging about $40 an hour, $60 an hour is time and a half. This person is a full-time employee, so that would be applicable. And we just need to figure out a figure to go off of for the average number of hours of overtime. So for this calculation here, I'm going to use 10. Which is frankly lower than a lot of the numbers that I heard floating around back when I was there. So 10 hours a week, $60 an hour is $600. Take that, multiply it by 52 weeks in a year, you come out to $31,200. Now, 2024 is going to be the third full year that this has been going on. I heard that this may have started in late 2021, but let's just look at 3 full years, right? This is going to come out to $93,600. And if you combine that with the figures that we already went through, that's a whopping $285,251.60. That's a lot of money. So you may be asking then, well, okay, why is this money being spent, right? Well, Karen's team has said, all right, this is all just security spending. And there's a lot of things that make this a bit dubious. I mean, just to start, her predecessor, Jessica Cooper, was a lightning rod for controversy, and I believe in her 70s, and didn't have anything like that when she was prosecutor. Many of you know I went before the Board of Commissioners to make them aware of the situation, and I told them about allegations I heard. Multiple people in a single week told me about how this person allegedly went down to Detroit with Karen in a group she took for a presidential rally, and that he was purportedly paid to pick up a suit for her father, drop it off to him, and, do errands such as that. Now, interestingly, Karen and her chief assistant actually were at that Board of Commissioners meeting. It looked like they came to actually watch me. So they're definitely aware that there are allegations floating out there, but at least at time of recording, I don't believe that Karen McDonald has actually denied that occurred. And if in fact this is the case, obviously that has nothing to do with security. And using taxpayer money essentially to run errands for a family member of an elected official does not really seem like the most proper use of taxpayer resources, taxpayer funds, right? So, there are all sorts of other things too that I could get into, but, one thing I will leave you with on this point is, the efforts to verify this. I don't like to just go off base statements. I had heard that there is some question as to the credibility of the threats made, and I wanted to look into that. Hey, I'm not saying if someone actually threatens an elected official that they shouldn't be prosecuted, nor am I saying that steps shouldn't be taken to address that situation if it's credible, but that's not what I've heard. So I put in a request, any messages that were received that prompted the implementation of this. Well, Karen's team finally responded, and it was a hard, nope, we're not giving you that at all. Didn't matter, redacted, unredacted. The claim was merely releasing the messages would somehow compromise Karen's security. And no, they provided no explanation on that in, the response letter that they had sent. And it's a little bit telling there, because if you look at most of the other stuff they gave me, they definitely know how to use Adobe's redaction tool. And there's a question as to what actually would be in there that would compromise security, right? Oh, and this is the thing. I can actually tell you one item that purportedly is somehow a threat. Karen's political opponent. Yeah, so I had a candidate interview last week with a local newspaper, and I was asked to respond to allegations made that I am somehow fanning the flames of threats and making them worse. No, I am not joking. So I asked, did they give you anything specific I could address? The answer was no, nothing specific, just like no explanation prior. And I will actually leave this up to the viewer. At this point, I have done plenty of interviews, plenty of candidate forums. There are videos of me online, particularly not even ones I've been put up. I tried to not use hyperbole. I talk about facts. I talk about stats. I talk about cases, policies I saw firsthand in the prosecutor's office. So if the claim that a political opponent talking about what's going on in the prosecutor's office is somehow a threat, again, little question as to the legitimacy of the claims being made, right? And if she's talking broadly about being concerned about rising violent crime, the spikes we've seen in our community, I would say that that is a point of just look in the mirror and reflect on whether or not the policies that are put in place are really working, right? And this is just a selection of issues we could talk about here. We haven't even gotten into the quarterly reports for $500,000 that it doesn't seem like the prosecutor's office actually did. So that's about $500,000 that's just disappeared into the void. And, frankly, a lot of this is really troubling. So I'm sure there's plenty more to talk about. There's other spending we could get into too, such as a Chiefs retreat or leadership retreat where Karen took a group of her administrators / political allies / friends, mixed there, all on our county dime. But again, maybe leave in the comments if you have questions or if there's a topic that you want me to address. But, other than that, until next time, Scott Farida, and thank you for taking the time to watch this.